Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today I thought I'd do a quick walk around of just underneath the hood of my 2020 JL Wrangler. Nothing crazy, but I definitely have some aftermarket additions to the engine compartment in various forms. So I'll show you what I've got going on there. Talk about the motor real quick. It's the 3.6 Pentastar. It's been a really reliable motor in my opinion for Jeep, which is why they carried it over from the JK model, the end of the JK run to the JL. I know there's a lot of options motor-wise out there now, you know, with the turbo and the diesel and the Hemi, the 392. But this has been kind of their proven solid motor. This is the motor you're going to see most companies are going to be making aftermarket components for, because it's just, you know, been the kind of the tried and true. This is my third Wrangler with this particular motor. I had a 2014 two-door JK, a 2016 four-door JKU. Both were super solid, no engine issues with either of them. I got, you know, like 60,000 on one and I think a little closer to 70,000 on the other. So that was for me a no-brainer as far as motor was concerned. The Hemi wasn't out. I don't know if I would have got it, even if it was, but very cool motor to have. But I've just been happy with this and everything output-wise that it's done. I've never felt like I needed more power on the trail. Let me grab the camera. We'll kind of do a quick little walk around of the extra accessories and additions I have in the engine here, and then kind of talk about just, you know, my thoughts on some of this stuff and, you know, see what you guys think. So anyhow, you can see, let me zoom you guys out a little bit, get you a better, there we go. Okay, so first off, this is kind of stupid, but just worth noting. The engine, or the hood holder is flipped on the JL, so it's up here. Versus being down here. So I see a lot of people open my hood that have been used to working on the JK and they're looking for that. And so kind of funky little thing, but you know, Jeep had to change some stuff up. The engine tray or the engine cover is different as well. The old one you can just pop off. This one's actually fastened down with two T30s. It's a little bit smaller, have a little bit more breathing room there. So like I said, 3.6 liter Pentastar. Been very happy with this particular motor. Personally, I haven't had any issues with my Jeeps on this motor. It's been really great off-road. I feel like I have enough power. For me, the type of stuff we do is more in the gears, in the axles. So 538 gears on this with the 40s is the perfect combo with the 3.6. And then transfer case is also a very big factor for crawling. So, you know, having big power or having, you know, a lot of torque can have their benefits. But for me, best all around, I think the 3.6 checks those boxes for me personally. So let's get into some of the stuff we have going on under the or in the engine bay here. Let's start off on the driver's side. You can see I have the sPod. So this is the HD. I have the HD panel, the 8 switch. So this is a 8 switch switch panel system. I have all my lights hooked up to it. I have my lockers hooked up to it. I can get this thing off with one hand. You can see, you know, it's always got a little bit of charge going. You can see the lights there. Which is why we'll get to what I have going on the other side there. I've got one free switch right now. Actually, it's taken. It's just not, wiring's not hooked up to it yet. So it's been a good system. sPod obviously has been around for a long time. Everybody knows sPod. They make great components. I do, it's crazy to say this, but I do need a few more switches. So I might try out the Switch Pros 12 switch just to try something else different, and also to add a couple more switches to the panel so I can add some more lights and things like that. A couple other accessories I'd like to have on a Switch. So stay tuned for that. But currently this has been great and no problems and no complaints about that. Just carrying on along with the driver's side, you can see the PSC right here. This is the breather for the full Rams system. So I have the PSC full hydraulic assist setup. So that is going to also include, if we can get under here, you can see the PSC, the steering box there. So that's the steering gear. That brings it back to a mechanical steering versus the electronic, which is what you have on the JLs. I was not a fan of that by any means. It was very twitchy and would fight me in the rocks. And so PSC was always on my list of things to do. It just didn't get started on the first half of the build because I was doing a lot and, you know, just budget and time and figuring stuff out. It kind of came a little bit later, but I would say it is a must-have, 100% must-have if you're running 40s on any Jeep, especially in the rocks at low PSI. 37s, 38s, 39s also would be ideal for rock crawling, for getting around town. Maybe not as much, but if you want to get in the rocks and get some single-digit PSI, you are 100% going to want to have that PSC system going. So very cool system. There's a lot of stuff, belts and pulleys and things that go on under here. I'm not going to get into. You can see here I have that's the fill reservoir right there. So let's get this camera a little stabilized. I'm not a good cameraman. So this is where the system would fill up, and I could check that. And then this is the breather tube, to run off on the breather. Or the bleeder. So if the system gets too much, if I'm pumping too much or it gets too hot, it'll push it through here and then push it out and squirt out the side, and I'll have PSC fluid everywhere. But that's kind of the name of the game with that. So you've got that, and then you can see on this side, just kind of continuing in on the PSC, you've got the main reservoir right there. That would be that component right there, and then other variables or other components that I can't really get to in the engine bay. So PSC, highly recommend. Transitioning from PSC, let's talk about the intake. So right now I'm running the S&B cold air intake system. Love it. One of those things that didn't necessarily know how much I would like it until I got it. A couple of reasons why I like it and a couple of reasons why I'm going to recommend it. First of all is the clear lid here. You can quickly, I think a lot of us, I'm super guilty of this. It's one of those things that, like cabin air filter and air filter, out of sight, out of mind. You don't see it. You don't necessarily try and look or know how dirty it is, and really can affect performance of the engine when you're breathing in all that dirt. You got a bunch of dust and grime that's not allowing air into the engine when it needs it. So having this clear cover, I can quickly take a look and see what I got going on. I'm running the dry filter with the boot or the cover on it. Helps eliminate some of that bigger particulates from getting into the system. So we get a lot of dust. We do a lot of things like that. So I wanted to run the boot on there, but very, very cool that I can see what's going on with the system all the time. When I open the hood, I can quickly say, oh, that thing looks dirty. Let's get a new one in there, or let's clean what I got going on. You can also run the wet filter, the oiled filter as well. Both of them are available from S&B. Secondarily, this is, just kind of like just being a car guy and liking cars. This thing has a really nice rumble to it. It really adds to the exhaust I'm running. So when I get on the gas, you can just hear this thing thump. It sounds really mean, and for as much, as mean as you can get with a 3.6 liter, let's face it, they're never going to sound like a V8, but, we can do what we can to kind of add some of that. So kind of the fun factor, or the butt dyno is fun with that, but, just a high performance takes in a lot more air than the stock intake. So, for me, it was a kind of a no-brainer to add this to the setup. So really happy with that. Transitioning from the S&B filter, let's talk about the newest addition, is the Genesis dual battery setup. This is a dual battery tray with all kinds of cool, this is like the brains of the system. It's got a solenoid and it transfers power back and forth, and it does a lot more complicated stuff than I really can explain, but I know that I needed it because with the JL, if you're not familiar, they come with two batteries. It comes with a full-size regular battery and then a small secondary battery. I'll show you right here. I got them right here. Below it. So this was my Optima yellow top I had because I had to replace it because this little battery is constantly pulling charge and can die a lot faster because of the size. So I know a lot of people have had that problem. This was my second one that I went through after the Rubicon, and having my fridge going on, it killed this battery. And so when this battery dies, it starts sucking the power out of this battery to try and start the Jeep, because this is the one that starts the Jeep. So I was kind of dead in the water after Rubicon. I was jumping it for a couple of days, and then once that little battery died, I was completely dead. I couldn't bring it back to life. So we eliminated the secondary tray, which sits underneath here. That is now gone. And we have both batteries up top now. So two Group 25 batteries. This is the main cranking battery for starting and all that good stuff. You can see all the accessories and everything are hooked up onto this battery here. And so they'll transfer power back and forth as needed. You've got a boost button here for if you get down really low and it won't start, you can hit this button and it'll give you like a minute to get over to the driver's side, get in and give you enough cranking power to start the Jeep. And then it'll start recharging, I think this battery first and then this battery. So for the JL owners, I think this is a must-have setup if you're running any sort of auxiliary, anything, lights, fridge especially, because if that little battery dies, you are like dead in the water. And if you have inner fenders on and regular fenders, to get to the battery from the bottom, which is how I used to access it, is a pain in the butt. If you have coilover towers, which I have, you cannot pull that battery out from there anymore. So what you would have to do is pull your main battery out, remove the switch box here, the switch fuse panel here, and I mean, it's a lot of work to get all this crap out just to get to that battery. So I eliminated that hassle, put both batteries up top, gave myself plenty of juice. to not have to worry about it. So that's kind of the setup I have going on currently. There's probably not a lot of other additions I'm going to need to do underneath here. You know, maybe do an oil catch can. I see a lot of guys with the JLs are having that smoking issue. I haven't. I've been on some pretty steep inclines and haven't had an issue with it yet, knock on wood. Also, just kind of recapping, I've been very happy and you know, had good success with this 3.6 liter motor. You know, of course, we would all love to have a Hemi, but I don't necessarily know that that's something I need. It's more of a want. So, you know, maybe someday, but right now we're going to run this motor and enjoy it while it's working well. So let me know if you have questions about anything going on under here. It's kind of just a real quick run through of what I have going on under the Jeep. Stay tuned. I'm going to do a full walk around video of the entire Jeep, of everything on the Jeep. That'll be a long one, but I'm going to hit every single aspect of everything I have. I'll probably run through this part a little bit quicker because we've already done this segment just for this part of the Jeep, but I'll definitely pop the hood on that one and kind of go through some stuff as well. So thank you for tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime about anything that I've got going on or just questions Jeep related in any aspect.